Okay. So what did you guys think of the few? I think we read 3, right? We did the Conjure Waters, Dirt, and
Light.
Say again?
Light.
Lights. We did lights.
Okay.
And water. Or not.
Lights, water, and dirt.
Dirt and dust.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So in lights, she's talking about candles. She talks about candles. She talks about
Lamps.
how to use them. Right, lamps. And is there any other lamp? No, just not any lights and lamps. That's it. And then she's got a couple of things in there on how you can do certain things. So in the candle one, she talks about drawing money, and then the blockbuster candle, the loaded blockbuster candle. And then the vigil, right? The attraction vigil. And then in lamps, she talks about self-love and road opening and domination. Oh boy, this should be fun. So let's talk a little bit about in the light chapter. How many of her suggestions, which are very, very few in comparison to the amount of information out there in magical workings, when it comes to the candles, did you see any similarities that you guys that came out of other texts that pretty much didn't originate here?
I don't know. I haven't read that much about candles.
I haven't read a lot about candles, but like
some of the things that I see that like I do, I mean, there are certain things, obviously, like writing in the candle, your intentions and different things. I don't know where they come from, but there's things that I've already been doing long before reading this. And, you know, that's just something that just you kind of did. So there's certain things, but I don't know where they all originate from.
Okay. The drawing is something that a lot of us do use, drawing in the candles, especially in candles, because they're made for that purpose. And they're easier to dress because you can like stick them to a plate and then carve what you need to and put all your stuff around it. And then light your candle. I see this particular tradition using the 7-day candles, you know, the ones in the big jars. I see a lot. Even even for money, like they would run a candle for like a while. She says to draw money. This is a simple little work to draw money into the home. You will be working with a stick candle to draw on prosperity. Now, are we talking about chime candles when she's talking about stick candles, or are we talking about like those taper candles that are like this fucking long? Because there's a big difference between a taper.
One like this, not a big taper, but a smaller one.
Kind of like the ones that you do, that you have in the shop there, and the colors.
The chime candle. Like.
Yeah.
Candle, yeah, that's it.
Does she I don't remember if she mentioned anything about colors.
Yeah, she did. I mean, on different ones. She mentioned purple being mentioned in the Bible. And then she mentioned on one, and I don't know if it was that one about you could use purple or orange, but if not, white.
For money?
I don't know if that was for money. I'm trying to remember which one that was.
You'll need a white handkerchief, powder herb, petition, cinnamon, sugar, and some type of spiritual oil. Lay the white handkerchief out on the altar. Then burn your petition to the mix the powdered candle, or you can just use cinnamon and sugar. Okay, well, sugar I can see is making the money sweet. And cinnamon is traditionally used to heat up things, to bring things to clear.
Heather, you're really going.
Oil. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I better? Yes, no.
I can hear you okay.
Okay, all right. 'Cause I'm sorry. Guys.
Yep. How you're wobbly again.
We'll just stand. I don't know, guys. I did my best. She doesn't say anything about what color to use for the drawing
not
money
on the money
candle.
one, I guess.
Because, like, for me, the money would have been like all green candles. That's what I would use for money.
Right.
I would have had some money. I have on my altar right behind me here, I have my little money bowl, and in my little money bowl has money. It has herbs. I have Skittles. I threw some Skittles in there. I threw different things to kind of represent, the flow of income and being,
Abundance, the flow of abundance.
Yeah, abundant and sweet. And then I took one of those little, those bank statements you get when you check your ATM balance. Well, I have one of those, and then I wrote the number out that I wanted to see in my bank account, and that sits in my jar. And then I go and I stir it every now and again, and then I'll put some change in it here and there. And I mix it up like that. Yes, child?
I want another ice pop so I can go down and go with my hunger and my.
We're gonna go. It's something to eat after we're done here. And yes, you can have an ice pop. Go.
And I'm gonna watch something.
No,
And I'm talking with my Nintendo.
that's fine. Go.
Cool.
Kids. So I would have went with a green candle, but she doesn't say anything about green candles. She just talks about a white handkerchiefs. What do you think the thing is behind the white handkerchief?
Purity.
Purity.
It doesn't the handkerchief symbolize something? Stephanie, you're muted.
Okay, let's try that again. So Christianity and the white, that's like kind of their blank slate. Like that's how you start fresh. As long as it's white, it's like cleanse. It's clean.
Okay. So they're using candle. I wonder why she didn't say anything about what color to use for a money candle. That's weird. So what's the little blockbuster candle? Let's see. Work to remove whatever is in the way or hold you back. In this work, you will use a pillar candle. That's a 7-day candle. You can find one or a dripper candle. Of course, they have tons of those. You can go to any. You can go to the dollar store and get a 7-day candle in that color. Okay. She says if you can't find those colors, use a white one. Purple is a powerful color. She mentions she mentions that it's that was in the Bible. Apparently, it works great for removing things, which doesn't make any sense to me because I would use a black candle to remove things. How do we have a purple candle? This is a really weird concept because, color understanding is completely different. She says to take a pair of small scissors or a knife and dig a hole either in the bottom or the side of the candle. Why do you want a hole? The reason you use scissors or knives is because you are removing the blocks that are holding you back. Scissors and knives cut away things, so they will cut away any magic that has been done to block you. Save the wax from the hole. You'll need a bowl to sit your candle on. And of course the Bible, and a piece of hydon root. Are you guys familiar with hydon?
I didn't hear what you said, Heather.
So hydon, are you familiar with the hydon root? So hydon has been used in hoodoo for a while. It's so it does help to bring
Heather?
things. Oh, for Christ's sake.
Take a deep breath, honey.
Right.
We hope that is it's used for.
I barely heard you too. Yes, no, I'm just having a bad day with reception. It is kind of stormy out.
It's been raining all day. It's been windy.
Oh God, it's 102 here.
Right? This might make today a little difficult. So bear with me.
It's still so dreary out.
Yeah. Okay,
No,
so
it's
basically
103. It's 90 right now at 8:30 or 8 o'clock.
90?
90.
Wow.
that's a lot. Okay, so hydon is an herb that is used to bring luck. So when you use it in these kinds of spells or rituals, she's using it to add potency towards being successful at breaking whatever she's trying to break. So that's why she uses the hydon. And then of course the Bible verse. Okay, and then attraction visual. So that's going to be using a candle to attract things that you want. Am I correct? Yep. Attraction powder and oil. I don't have any of that. But you can make an attraction herb thing if you wanted to combine several different herbs that enhanced your ability to manifest things you were looking for, and then ground them into a powder. You could put it in your own little satchel and carry it around, or in a little bottle and sprinkle it when you need it. And you can do that with any kind of herb mix. So any kind. So whatever properties you're looking for, you can just find the plant for it and then mix whatever you want to mix, grind that shit up into a powder, and then you have yourself a little herb powder to sprinkle on your candles for any of your use. She says you need a picture of your design. They work with a lot of pictures. I think they need a lot of visuals. It still makes me question the ability of their visuals back when like they were really using this, because that will of course cause conflict. They got caught with contraband.
Yeah.
All right, how did she I skipped over the lamp part and I went into the water, I guess. Not exactly sure. How did she use the love thyself lamp spell with her lamp here?
I don't
What were
remember
some of the points on that? Because I totally started at the Conjure Waters.
I just remember her talking about like it being easier and safer to use the lamps.
No, but before you start doing that, you need to do at least 3 cleansing baths, she said.
Yeah. Everything, it takes so time consuming. Like I'd be like, you know what, I'm over this. This took too long to get it set up. Now I have 3 other things waiting I need to deal with. It's just, it's just so overwhelming.
Yeah, it feels that way too. Cause I'm like, why do you need?
And I just think if this started when people had such little time, like, would it take like 3 months to accomplish one freaking thing? By the time we had to gather the supplies, because they weren't always there, and you had to sneak them, then you had to wash them 100 times and then pray over them. So much.
You like 4 more times.
Exactly.
Right, but at the same time, you're like, how do they hold on to things for 3 months without them being seen? So I feel like this was way faster. I feel like the process of this was way faster. They're,
so strange. Like, okay, it got convoluted through her, the one who's trying to teach it. I don't know.
A little bit. Like, and it's almost like she's trying to teach parts of it and not the whole thing. Like there's such a gap in the amount of stuff that you could do, and it like limits you on everything else. And it's like,
well, from one perspective, I mean, she's just teaching her teachings.
Right. But then she's
where
not
hers came from, where that, those are just her teachings. So take from it
right,
what
but
you will.
Practicing very much if she's only teaching just this little bit, you know what I mean?
Like this would be like, you'd have to do this full time. It would take up all of your time. And when you're spending 12 to 16 hours working and then have to come home and still eat and get some sleep, like when are you doing all of this?
It does kind of make you wonder a little bit.
Just interesting.
But honestly, I feel like this would have been like done in like 15 minutes max. Like, here, I'm going to cleanse myself. Let me just scratch this shit out really fast that I need to get done. Let me tie up some strings and, whatever the hell they need to do.
Right.
And then they're done, disposed of, and there's no evidence.
And then you have to find a yard where 3 dogs fought.
What?
Do you remember that part where she said you have to find?
I do.
I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, how do you know where 3 dogs? Like, this is just so like. It's interesting. This book is nothing what I expected it to be at all. So out of left field.
It's definitely a little out there. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little bit out there. I went into
with the lamps. She continued her tradition of complete lack of respect for free will, like that domination lamp. Like, no, stop! You stop doing that, please.
Yes.
It really makes you wonder, like. It can. I don't think it was based on Christianity. It kind of like absorbed it and like
they mashed it in there.
When I saw domination, I was like, I already know what that is. I don't even need to worry about what that is, And then she gets into conjure water. So here she's talking about some interesting waters here. So she says that it's the waters are collected by the worker and made into washes, baths, added to things that are needed. I do believe she talks a little bit about working with different types of water as well. She talks about blue water, which is basically water made by adding bluing, also known as laundry blue, to river water. So to me, that kind of sounds like she's putting something into nature that shouldn't be in nature. And then you petition the spirits through the river to help you see what you need to see when you were doing divination. Blue water is good for protection, washes and sprinkles, or to dip herbs in during cleansings to be brushed down on the client from whom you're doing a cleansing on. I'm sorry, if you're going to do a cleansing on me, you're not going to put water all over me. Well, while we were in this
Water
thing.
with some kind of blue laundry soap.
Like something, and it makes me a little bit nervous that she's putting something into rivers that changes the color of something. That I don't know what that is. Don't do that. That's not okay. There's fish in there and other living organisms. You don't need to be fucking their environment up because you need to make your water look a different color. It's not how this works.
And there's so many like
there's so many,
vegetables or fruits that she could have used to do that and accomplish the same goal of making it blue.
Right.
Right?
That's
And
what
that
they
is
had.
something that would have probably been far more accessible to the ancestors
the
than
ancestors
food
that food dye.
Right? Exactly.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure they didn't
So I
have
mean,
that.
it does not seem authentic. That's what's really getting me about the whole book. It doesn't seem authentic. It seems like it's wishy-washy. That's the best word I can come up with.
Mhm.
So then she talks about the chamber lie. She goes, I know there were some workers who like to use their own urine. Oh, this is where she talks about urine and how putting it in the jar and closing it off is a bad thing because it turns rancid. Well, if you're going to pee in something and you're going to close it off for a spell work, you're not fucking opening it again. It doesn't fucking matter. I mean, like, I don't get it. This whole thing, she says, but I don't advise anyone to lock up their urine in a bottle or a jar. Let me say this. She has her ethics on it right here. I have heard about witches' bottles containing a witch's urine for protection. That's just one way to use urine, okay? Just throw that out there. You know? She says, containing with urine for protection. Someone in a class I gave once pointed this out to me. This is what I said, and I stand by it. She goes, I can only speak from a conjurer's point of view. I'm not saying anyone is wrong, only that it's not conjure work, and that's all I know. Okay. So that's
She's
all she
like,
has to
"Side
say
note,
about
burn
that.
them." Like seriously.
Like, seriously.
Next one is dishwater. Okay. Well, she goes there. If there was a lot of arguing in your home, she says my mama would work the dishwater to bring peace. So dishwater is worked with for a peaceful home. If there is fussing and fighting in the home, then after supper, wash the dishes in a dish pan and throw the water out the front door of the home. That's the weirdest thing ever.
Well, I've done that just because the soap is good for the grass.
Yeah.
Not,
I said it keeps the bugs. But how does that create a peaceful home? Like,
no.
you're
Maybe
just
because
washing
they
the
were doing the
dishes.
dishes, they washed all the grime off of them, so she throws the dirt outside because it washed it clean. I don't know. Seems odd, but
I would
that's the
like
only thing that comes to mind.
in that person's house when they have a fucking irritated teenager and a small child and a argument in dinner, and then I want to see this work.
Yeah.
I don't think this works. I can see like the idea of it, but and it was really short and like, here's what you do, just throw your crap out the. What if you have a dishwasher?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like swallowing this book.
The
I guess you
ancestors
have
were
to
the
wash your hand
dishwashers.
that day.
Then she talks about holy water, which is water made by the church. FYI, you can make holy water without a church. It is not necessary. But if you want church holy water, then obviously getting at a church is where you're gonna best be able to do that. It's really just water that's been prayed over and blessed by the priest or the whoever
Practitioner.
right, the preacher. Okay, I like the next couple ones. The hurricane water is neat. I love the hurricane water because if you need something like that, getting water from a hurricane is definitely going to be stirring up some shit for you. So that I don't think is hoodoo related. I think that's been around a long time. Besides this, I think they adopted it. The river water, as long as you're not turning it blue, we're okay. The river water from the river can be used for removal work. It can also be used for everything emotional. Anything water can be used for emotional purposes, especially in things like self-love and in removing trauma, because water is very healing. The next one is stagnated water. So she says this one is water you can find ponds, puddles, swamps, places where water's not moving. She says that this is used for bindings, confusing crossings, and enemy work. Let's just like rename crossings to hexing because that's what the fuck it is. Okay.
100%.
it's hexing, okay? And enemy work.
But it's okay
After
if it's
this-
justified. By who? By yeah, it was justified. I felt okay about that. Oh. I'll be right back, ladies.
After this type of work, you need to do some cleansing work to make sure you don't have any residue. What is with the residue? If you're going to hex somebody, you can't cleanse the residue off. You didn't put that shit out. It's coming back whether you like it or not. I don't understand. Like, it might not be in the karmatic way that others might not believe, but it's still something's happening. Like, there's no lacking effect from a cause. It's not science, okay? And I'm not going to disregard science here because why? All right, stormwater. Stormwater is another good one. So this is the type of water is worked with to stir things up. And you can use it a lot like the hurricane water. So I would use stormwater if you're trying to go through like a transformation yourself and you want to bring on the transformation. Stormwater is a good idea for this because it'll really like rock things up a little bit and get you to look at it. But be prepared if you do that. It's definitely gonna tower your ass. So, tar water, that was a different one. She says it's used for protection and breaking hexes. Stupid crossing thing. As well as reversing magic. She says back in the day, it was easy to get tar because the tar was used to pave roads and the workers would share a little with you. When we had slavery, what year was that? When did that start here? For my historical peoples, because I am really bad with dates.
I mean,
Like, when did slavery
Start?
I mean, it started before we were even a country. And then I believe abolishment was like 1862.
We didn't have things like tar then, did we? When did we start using tar for the
They
road?
used tar for roof.
Okay.
So they did use it back then. And because it was dark like their skin, that's where they started to get referred to as carbon, which is
Okay.
why that's so derogatory. But then that makes sense.
Okay. All right. So she says it's easy to get tar because tar was used to pave roads and the workers would share a little with you. But if we didn't pave roads when this all started, then they wouldn't come from the roads. So, okay. Today it's hard to find. It's not hard to find tar. Is it?
I think she means it's hard to find. For free.
Oh, yeah, you can't get much for free. You have to buy shit. It's just how the world works today. She says you can get, how do you pronounce that, Shannon? Coreliana? Liana?
Creolina.
I don't know how you,
Creolina.
I want your ability to decipher words. I'm not good at this. Okay, so she says, which is and I've read shitloads of books, and you think my vocabulary would be better, but no. She says old commercial brand sold in some feed stores. And it is made with the base of coal tar and sold as a deodorant cleanser for the home. Okay. She says she uses all types of cleansings inside and outside of the house. You can burn yourself if you get under skin. Get it. Isn't tar a little bit toxic too?
Definitely.
Yeah.
But the Creolina,
So
they actually sell on Amazon.
But I'm losing my shit over this. Let me just burn some toxic shit in my house and make sure all the stuff goes away. Is there a window
she showers
open?
in
Are they
ammonia.
like,
You're surprised?
oh,
All her cleanses
Like-
are made with freaking ammonia. She's burning it off her skin. She's literally burning the evil off her skin with freaking ammonia.
and like and totally engulfing coal in her house. Oh hell. I do not advise, okay guys. It's just, I don't know about all this. I don't know. She said you could put it in a mop bucket or a spray. Like, why? Why would you do that? Like, you put it all over your floor and then you're gonna walk on your floor. And like, do they not understand that we have these things called pores in our skin? And things like seep up into your body? Like, that's a thing.
It's not a thing. They're protected by the Lord.
I guess. So the next one is toilet water. So this is where they use, I feel like I'm mocking this book. I'm so sorry, but like I just don't know what to do with it. Okay. This is good for all types of work where you are trying to remove someone or something from your life because you can just flush them away. Now I could totally do something like that, but that would be more logical, I think, just using it to flush. And then war water. Okay. There is this water that is a word that was thrown against an enemy's door. In this day and age, if you try to, you might go to jail. Okay, well then why talk about it? Because like that makes no sense.
Not New Mexico.
I know, no, yeah, right. We'll be safe here.
Nothing's illegal here. Sorry.
We'll be safe here. She goes, war water is used in a campaign. Campaign? Oh, in a campaign to start, I'm horrible. In a campaign to start war against another person. Today, that would definitely not be a very good idea, but you can use the same technique, just in a different way. I understand the reasoning of busting the jar against the door. Glass cuts, not only that, but there'll be a violent element of throwing the jar at the door. Oh my God, my brain today. Come on, brain. But it is the ingredients in the water that makes the water work. So instead of busting the jar, you can use the storm water. And add it to the glass with some rusted nails, some broken glass, rose thorns. That sounds a lot like a witch's jar, guys. Minus the urine, but she's already using ammonia, so like. Okay. This is the one with the dogs where you had to find the dogs that were fighting to make this water. Right? So just let the water sit until it becomes stagnant, and then it's ready for you to drop somewhere. The target will get it by walking through it. Well, how do you know that? Are you going to spy on them?
Charity does to get all their data.
Like, how do you know that? You can't just go over there. I'm gonna put this puddle here. Okay, I don't know about you, but I don't go walking through puddles because things like my feet get wet. So I don't make a habit of doing that. So how on earth is someone gonna walk through water you spilt for them to walk through? I think there is a much more easy way to do that. If you're going to use any kind of water, you don't even need to bring it to them. It's the attention that matters, you know? If you want to send that shit out, send that shit out. Just be prepared. You know? All right, then we're into dirt.
What you doing?
Right? Dirts and dust. Because in the old days, dirt was collected from many different places. I think there was a couple of ones to say in here. There's a peaceful homework, and then there's the tea light setup, the dust and dirt using Conjure. Oh, we'll go through those in a minute. So I highlighted a couple of things on page 160, 61. It says, before I move into the dirt and recipes, I feel like I need to remind folks that this work is not all sugary and sweet. Thanks. The ancestors were fighting for their lives, so some of the works are hard works. But you have to remember that these works came out of slavery. I highly doubt some of these came out of slavery. After I've been reading this, I highly doubt some of them are. I feel like they're a take on
slavery is in quotes, like it didn't exist. What is that?
Good point. I just noticed that. She's like slavery.
Now it's a legend.
That's kind of mocking it in her own book. Oh God. This is a bad book.
Is there a picture of this woman?
I don't know.
Oh, that's right. You weren't on last week. She is white.
She's white.
I'm looking her up.
You can Google her. She is white. Not a little
Yeah,
white.
not a little white.
I would also just remind you, the reader. I love this. She's doing this a lot lately. As we get towards the back of the book, she's like the reader. I'm like, okay, now you're calling me out. Great. So it says, I would also like to remind you, the reader. That should have been in quotations. That just because you know how to do a work doesn't mean you have to do the work. It doesn't mean you have to do the work. That isn't totally up to you. And I said again, question mark, question mark. It's just this. Just because you know doesn't mean you have to do the work. Is what she's saying. So I believe dust and dirt were, let's just jump over to the different types of dirts. So we've got bank dirt, okay? This is for money. Makes total sense. Like, I actually thought about, like, I was reading this, and I was like, people actually practice this, and I thought, okay, well, maybe I can go out and collect some of these dirts and put them for certain things. I thought about it. Just think about things. So just as here's a recipe you can work with to dust your money. To draw in more money into your home, you need some dirt from the bank, your photo, burn to ash. Your ashy photo, okay? And you need some powdered bayberry root and the dirt from the four corners of your church. So she's mixing up different locations to draw in money. So I assume that the church is, we'll get to that in a second. Church is for blessings. So the money with the church, blessing your money. Got it. Blessings, healings, and protection works. It helps to repair broken relationships. And then she gives you a little recipe on how to use it for something, but it doesn't specify. She goes, you need some dirt from a churchyard, dirt from a crossroad, powdered laurel leaves, and powdered bay leaves. Mix them together in the name of the Holy Trinity, and then place them on a basic candle setup. But for what? For the blessings, the healing, or the protection? We don't know. It was one of them.
What she says just before that, she says to keep from repeating myself over and over, I'm going to give the instructions on the basic tea light setup for working the powder to get them ready. So that's what she's doing over here.
Right, but when she's right, but she's not specifying for what exactly. So the church dirt, she's got blessings, she's got healings and protection work. She shows you that you need to prepare it a certain way, but she doesn't tell you which particular one to use it for. And then you've got courthouse dirt, which is used for making justice in court cases. And then she tells you a little bit about what to put in it. Of course, the Dixie John root, I'm surprised she didn't use Hi John. I don't know much about Dixie John root. I don't know the difference between Hi John and Dixie John. So then the crossroad dirt is used for opening or closing roads in conjure work. We learned about that when we were doing the crossroads. What is dirt, Dave?
Dirt dauber, it's like a wasp. A dirt dauber is like a wasp that makes dirt nest.
Oh, look at nests of dirt. Okay. So that's good for domination work and enemy work from right out of doing your personal hexings. Dirt for fighting dog's yard. I don't know where you're gonna find this.
That's what I was talking about earlier. What the hell is that?
I mean, maybe if you go to a place where they fight dogs, like, will they have those cockfights? They have dog fights too. So maybe from there.
So you have to know of a dog.
I want to go there.
That's you have to hope that at some point there was only 3 fighting.
Good point. Good point. Fire ants. I don't know about you. I live around fire ants. I'm not touching that dirt at all. You're gonna catch one really pissed off little ant, and you're gonna have it in your little dirt thing. You're gonna pull it out one day, and you get all high hell. Just beware if you're gonna be risking yourself with fire ants. They're not friendly. But she says that there were right. She says use them to draw or remove something or to stir things up or heat them up. Yeah, your hand when it bites you. Graveyard dirt. We went over graveyard stuff when we were reading about the graveyard. And then she talks about gunpowder. She says it's not dirt or dust. It can be used in a similar fashion, she says. It's used to heat up the work and provide quick activation, kind of like cinnamon. Just saying. Hospital dirt is very similar to a church dirt, apparently. Healing works. And then she tells you can get dirt from the church, dirt from a crossroad, powdered heal all. That's an interesting herb. I'm looking about getting that into shop. And powdered life everlasting herb. I don't know anything about that one. Mix them together in the name of the Holy Trinity and place them in the basic candle setup for healing spells. That's specific. Police station dirt used for justice works, and works to keep you from becoming part or connected with the law in any way, shape, or form. And then you've got railroad track dirt. That's a risky thing to get if you're not careful. This dirt can be worked this dirt can be worked with to draw or send away. Move away powder is made with dirt from the railroad track, crossroad dirt from an ant pile. No thanks. This and some powdered red pepper. Mix them together in the name of the Holy Trinity and then place them in the candle setup. I've heard this one, red brick dust, used for protection. Mix with other dirts and powdered herbs and sprinkle across the doorway and around your yard for blessing and keeping enemies out. I can see that one. I've actually heard that quite a bit because I've had a couple of people come in and ask me if I have red brick dust, and I'm like, no, I'm sorry, I don't. So then you got river dirt for cleansing, bogging a target down. Bogging a target down.
Falling them down.
Then she says termite dirt. What is up with her and the bugs? Termite dirt. No,
But you know what?
that's
That
not
makes more
a
sense
section.
in slave quarters because it was all wood and it wasn't good wood. It wasn't good wood.
Yeah, you could
So some of
probably
that
get
makes
ants
a
and
little more
termites.
sense than some of the other crap.
Right. Then she says salt. Salt is universal. It's in all cultures. It is not in one spot or another. It is used universally for the exact same purpose. And then the other one that's different though is the salt pepper. I have some of this at the shop. It's used for getting rid of things, and then particularly for men who do not know how to stay faithful. So it's for them straying men. Specifically to tie down the nature of a man. And then snake dirt. This is kind of funny. The chances that you're going to run into this are pretty slim unless you're an avid hiker and you know what to look for. Is she says to collect the dirt from the trackings of a snake. So as the snake goes through the dirt, it leaves like a little mark. And if you can find it, then you can scoop up that dirt and use it. She says it works for protection work, wisdom work, to gain knowledge, and then you can use it for enemy work as well. Sulfur. I'm not using that either.
I'm gonna vote no on the highly combustible ingredients.
Yeah.
Like, let's just put some of this gunpowder next to this candle. It'll be fine.
I'm gonna say that she needs to go down to the no, I'm not even gonna tell her that because she'll probably ruin the thing because she'll want the water. So no, I wouldn't use sulfur anyway. I can't even take the sulfur stuff, the you know, the added to the what is it? Fucking
It's in medication.
yeah, the powder, the MSM, I think it's called. I can't use that because I have an allergy to sulfur and sulfides. So when I use the sulfur, the MSM, like my body like fucking trips out, and like my platelets start to stop working and die. It's just bad. So no, I'm not touching that. And then didn't she talk about termite dirt? All right, she put it in here twice.
You need to touch
I
up
thought it was
some
odd because the rest of the list was in alphabetical order except for termite dust. It was really like random. That had to be an editing error.
Right.
Something. Do you think people are going to read this book? I'm
Have you guys
I'm
seen pictures
starting to
of her?
wonder. No, have you?
She's
Show
white.
us. Yeah. I
Yeah,
know.
we talked about that last week. You missed it.
I
Yeah,
must have been
I
when
was
I couldn't hear you
flabbergasted. I was
guys.
like, wait,
I just looked her up and I was like, she's white. Why is she talking about slavery and ancestors? Is she mixed?
I don't
She
think
grew
so.
up. Her family grew up working the field.
That
I wish I
doesn't
could
make
hear
you.
better.
At that time. I guess they were sharecroppers.
So she
Anyway, I
had
just
the
was
slave.
like, while we were reading, I thought she was. I'm so confused.
You are not
There's
alone,
also pictures
Angel.
of her on page 9 in the book.
Okay. So that's the 3 chapters we did, right? And then there's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So we got roots, herbs, and trees. And then she throws oils in there too, which it gets really frustrating from here on because I read a little bit about it as I keep going through it. And it seems like she gets weirder and weirder with the stuff she has in here. Okay, so then it's Tools of Conjure.
That's almost 30 pages right there. Like
Between the two?
27 pages. Mhm.
Okay. Let's do those chapters for next week.
Okay.
How many more chapters do we have left in this fucking thing? Because I'm ready to get through this.
I think we can probably finish it after that, the next week.
So this week we'll read those 2 chapters, and then next week we'll finish.
Yes. The next week is about 30
Yay.
pages.
On to a new book.
Angel's like it. I could throw this one out.
I'm giving it to Derek.
To tell him, don't believe everything you
I'm
read.
going to say, don't believe this crap. It's written by a white woman. It's so funny because it started off kind of really interesting and I was into it. And then it just took this weird turn. And I was like, what?
Yes, I agree.
I'm like, this is so
beginning much
interesting.
easier
I'm
to
going to
read.
learn so much. And then I was like, oh my God, is this book going to be done? Ugh.
That is exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
I feel the we're not gonna get the greatest of books sometimes in book club. We gotta go through some crap ones to get the good ones.
Yeah.
You never know what you're gonna get in this box of
time
chocolate.
before we finish.
Say again?
You think it'll be at least 2 weeks before we finish? Because I'm gonna be leaving for the next 2 weeks. So I don't mind so much if I miss these next 2 ones, but I want to be here for the start of our next book.
Right, we're gonna do the psychic witch next, and I'm
get
going
that
to
because you told me it was a different book and I'm prepared with a different one, and then you went and switched it up on me.
No, psychic witch has been the same. It was the bolt that I changed.
It's called Psychic
and
Witch.
Yeah.
I think I'll like this one.
I hope so.
I hope so too. We're ready for a good one. I want a good juicy one I can get into.
Right? Yeah. I don't want to.
Maybe
I don't
I'll get
want
it when I'm
to.
traveling. Then I can read it. I might jump ahead. Let's see if I can find it.
You could probably pick it up at like a Barnes and Noble or something.
Yeah.
So, well, it is 8:00. This week was just a flubbery week of weird stuff that she was
It really
saying
has
in her.
been a strange week.
I think the next chapter, the herbs and roots and whatever, we can learn a little bit more. Maybe not from her, but I'll definitely give some input on what I know on plants.
All right.
So,
Well, I don't know a lot about plants, but just that.
Hey, you know what? I don't know everything about plants either. There's so
You know
many
a lot
plants
of
on
things
this.
about them. I just eat them and cook them, but you have a lot more knowledge about them.
Right, but like I still feel not as adequate as I could. So like I can't go out and identify all the herbs that I know.
Right.
I can identify them in dry form, but like when I get into the real plant, I'm like, okay, wait, I think so. Like, there's things that I still have to learn as well.
See
So
how many
I'm not
plants
like,
there are? That's one of those things that you never unlearn. It's like shadow work. It's layers. It just keeps going.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's just so much stuff. And I love working with it. I really want to get my garden up and running. I'm feeling like, meh, because I don't have it running.
You got to plant those seeds I brought you. You should see how huge ours are getting.
Oh, let me